welcome. Let me just take you through, tell you a little bit about who we are. So we are ProVeg UK. Lisa and I run a program called School Plates, and we're part of ProVeg International. So as you can see from the map, we have, you probably can't see it exactly, but we have 9 country teams scattered around the globe. And our common objective is reducing the consumption of animals by 50% by 2040. So in the UK, we do this through our school food programme. It's all very slow today, I apologise. So as I've said, that's our mission, and our vision is a world where everyone chooses delicious and healthy food that is good for all humans, animals and our planet. We have won, for our school food programmes internationally, we've won a UN Momentum for Change Award. And in the UK, we were a finalist in the APPG Excellence in School Food Awards this year, which is brilliant. So far, we've swapped over 6 million meals from meat-based to meat-free or plant-based, which amounts to over 3,000 schools and over 400,000 children who eat from the menus that we've helped to improve. And our aims are very simple. So we help schools to become healthier, more sustainable, and also in the process help to save money. So yeah, the Climate Change Committee suggests that we have a fully plant-based option every day and ensure that all staff are trained in vegan and vegetarian cooking. So that's kind of what we're here to help with. This is just a little bit of some analysis that we've done. Lisa and I look at absolutely hundreds of school menus all the time. So we've done some carbon calculations on typical meat-based dishes, typical vegetarian dishes, and our plant-based dishes that we've created. So on average, our plant-based dishes are just over a quarter of the carbon emissions of a typical meat-based dish and about half the emissions of a veggie dish. So you can see the impact is quite enormous if you have enough children choosing this dish and you multiply that out over the number of meals that you're serving each year. And this is just a nice little slide. It's in both of our free resources, which you can download from our website, but it just clearly shows the comparison between a dish. So we've taken a spaghetti bolognese here, one with beef mince versus one that we've switched the beef mince for 50% lentils and 50% soya mince. And you can see on all counts, it's 27% cheaper, 87% lower in saturated fat, has more than double the fibre and less than a third of the emissions. And they're also, just to kind of flag as well, really similar protein levels. So one has 17 grams per primary school portion and the other has 16 grams. So this is something that there's a lot of kind of misinformation around plant-based food, that you don't get enough protein, which just isn't true, as long as the meals are well balanced, which all of our recipes are. And the other kind of key reason, other than the climate, is that plant-based food is really great for our health and obviously for children's health. So it lowers the risk of obesity. There's some really shocking stats that I think 10% of children starting school in the UK are obese by the time they begin school. And by the age of 10, it's over a third are either obese or overweight. And I think the figures in Scotland are very similar. So plant-based food helps to lower the risk of chronic diseases. So heart disease, strokes, some cancers, type 2 diabetes. And this is about the fiber content of plant-based foods. So they help make our kind of gut microbiomes much healthier. And these help to kind of reduce our risk of these diseases. And they're also just packed full of loads of nutrients. And Lisa's going to tell you a bit more about the different nutrients that are in our dishes today. This is just a quick summary of the free support that's available to you. So I've mentioned the guide and the recipes. If you go to our website, proveg.com, and go on the school plate section, you can download both of these for free. So the recipes in particular is 35 plant-based recipes that we've created. They're based on dishes that we know are popular. And we have, they're all in line with the school food standards. They're all fully costed, so they're really cheap. They're all nutritionally balanced. and they're all very low carbon. And we've included all the allergens in there as well. So there's some great recipes, and we're seeing lots of children all over the country eating those and really loving them. We also carry out menu reviews, so we can have a look at your menus, give you some tips and some advice on how to make, how to increase the uptake of some of your vegetarian and vegan dishes that are on there. We can also help you either introduce or to rebrand. If you have a meat-free Monday, we can help you turn that into a Save the Planet Day, which seems to work far better. The messaging is much more positive. We can help you with increasing your plant-based options and recipe development of any dishes you have that perhaps we don't have in our guide to sort of show you how to make those plant-based. And then, of course, we run these online workshops, which are primarily aimed at individual schools. And if you're from a multi-academy trust or a local authority, we will actually come to you and run this training, sort of a half-day workshop with you and your team. But if you know anybody who'd like to join our next online workshop, that will be happening in September, 14th of September, same time, always 3 o'clock. And we also have an accreditation scheme, which is coming very soon in the next couple of months. And this will be kind of outlining all the actions that we advise that you can take, and then giving you a sort of reward for taking those steps. So like a bronze, silver, gold that you can put on your menu. So that will be coming soon. These are just the resources that I talked about. So you can look out for those on the website, and they just have a little download button to download. We also have a newsletter. It's free. It comes out the first week of every month, and it contains lots of our recipes, what we're up to, what other things you can get involved with that might be useful. You can scan that QR code and it takes you straight through to the page to sign up for the newsletter. And if you want to just keep in touch with what we're up to, then please do follow us on social media. Those are all our handles there. And if you have any questions, obviously pop them in the chat today. But if you think of something after 4 o'clock, worry not, you can send us an email, schools@proveg.com, and Lisa and I will pick that up and come back to you. I shall hand over to Lisa. I will stop sharing and put myself on mute. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks Colette for that. So my name is Lisa, and I'm the chef trainer and also program coordinator of the School Plates program with ProVeg UK. And I'm going to talk you through 5 recipes today from our recipe brochure. And as Colette mentioned, this is free to download, and it's just absolutely brilliant. It's a brilliant resource. So I'm going to start by showing you this delicious homemade cottage pie. So I'm going to get it on and then talk to you a little bit more about what's in it and the nutritional values, etc., etc. So first of all, I'm going to start off in a hot pan, some leeks. Got that lovely sizzle. And then to that, I'm going to add some chopped onions, and then add a little bit of oil in there as well, and give that a stir around. So this is a great recipe. Now we've kind of thought about recipes for the autumn term going into winter, and this is a crowd pleaser. It's a familiar dish that most children have eaten and enjoyed. But the only difference is this is completely plant-based, but hopefully you'll try them at home and realise that they're really, really good. You may or may not be used to plant-based cooking. It'd be nice for you to let me know actually your experience with plant-based cooking. So let me tell you a little bit about this recipe whilst the onions and leeks are frying off. So the cost is 31 pence per portion. Now fibre, as Colette was saying, super important as a nation. None of us get enough fibre, so it's really important to have get as much fibre into your meals as possible, especially for children. This has got 6 grams of fibre. Another concern that people have is about protein. Am I going to get enough protein on a plant-based diet? Like for like, absolutely. This contains 8.3 grams of protein per portion and 1.8 grams of saturated fat, so very low in fat. And also low in carbon emissions as well, very planet friendly. In fact, all of our dishes are very planet friendly. So this contains also calcium, iron, zinc, and vitamin B12, which I'll talk to you about in a little while. So I'm just frying these off, and we're going to add a couple of ingredients that you may or may not have cooked with, and we've got a little poll that we're going to do, and hopefully you can join in just for fun and for us to get to know you a little bit better and to find out your experiences with cooking plant-based food. Maybe you do it at home, maybe you do it at work, in schools. Hopefully you do like it, and that's why you're here, and I'm assuming you want to learn more, and because I think, you know, it's only going one way, which is a good thing. Everyone needs to eat more plant-based food. And what we do at ProVeg, we're not saying, at School Plates rather, we're not saying you should become vegetarian or vegan. All we're saying is have a more balanced menu for the children that's more inclusive, more sustainable, cheaper as well. We find most of our partners save money as well. And health is a really big issue as well. So these meals are healthy. Right, so stop talking, stop cooking. So here I've got carrot and swede. So some nice colours. Again, nice root vegetables. I'm just going to mix those in. Get them all coated. And to that, I've also got some tomato puree, some garlic granules, and I've got some thyme. So some really lovely herbs and spices going in there. I'm going to cook off my puree. Always important to cook off your tomato puree because otherwise it can be a little bit bitter if you don't. Garlic granules, just give that lovely flavour, super easy to use, store covered ingredients, easy to store. And the thyme, a nice dried herb that's, again, easy to store and use.
I was just going to say, Lisa, you still get the same nutritional benefits of garlic from using the granules, don't you, as just using fresh, but it saves all the hassle.
Exactly. Good point. Thank you. Yeah, that's completely true. And yeah, and you still get all the lovely tastes as well. So we want to pack as much flavour into the dishes as we can because, yeah, children like everyone likes really good recipes. So I'm just going to mix that all in, get it all coated. And of course, this is going to bake in the oven as well. So I'm just going to sweat it off, soften it a little bit. And then we're going to add some lentils. I've pre-cooked my lentils. In the recipe there, they're not pre-cooked because it just takes a little bit longer. I've just done it for time-wise. So just for the quickness, I've pre-cooked my lentils, brown lentils. And what we also recommend, which you may or may not do, which I'll be interested to find out, is we do blending. We recommend blending. So if you do serve mince, say for a lasagna or a bolognese, we recommend taking out 50% of the mince. And can you still hear me, by the way?
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh, good, you can see me. My camera's got a bit funny, so I wasn't sure if you could see me.
Nope, all good.
Okay, good. So just to let you have a little close up of that. So what I was saying was we recommend that you blend and use 50% mince on 50% lentils. So you're halving your cost, number one. It's healthier. Number two, this goes up to 100. Number three, I'm kidding. So I'm just going to blend that all together. Obviously, our recipes are completely plant-based, but as I said, we're not trying to force menus to be completely plant-based. It's just about inclusivity. And also, because the cost of ingredients are rising so rapidly, blending your meat dishes is a really good way of getting more fibre and health into the dishes and lowering the cost as well. And no one needs to know either. Okay, so another thing I'm going to add in now, which again, you may or may not have used, is a dried soya mince. So hopefully you can see that. I just seem to have lost, I've got the chat up, you see. I can see the chat, but not, never mind, doesn't matter. I can hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. So a dried soy mince. We've got a poll actually. I think we're going to ask a question about that.
We've just done the poll, Lisa. Sorry. So about a third have never tried soya mince, and about 2/3 are already using it and think it's great.
Oh, brilliant. So soy mince, dried soy mince is easy to store, number one. Actually, I'll put it in before I start talking about it. So I'm going to put that in, and I'm actually going to add some stock as well because it does absorb liquid. Oops. Try not to spill it everywhere, can't promise. So I'm just adding some vegetable stock. Rather clumsily. Never mind. And I'm going to mix it around. So dried soy mince is very high in protein, and it's basically what it is. It's made from textured soya protein, and you can use it in bologneses and chilies. You can put it into soups and blitz it as well. We're obviously putting it into our cottage pie. It's really economical when you compare it to mince, and just when you compare it in general. Easy to store, it's got a long shelf life as well, and is really good for you. So let me just give this a good stir around.
Already that looks so much more colourful than a traditional school cottage pie, doesn't it? Yeah, exactly. You've got all those goodness, and that will bake in the oven and soften down and absorb everything and just be delicious. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, which I should have done before, is bring it to me and do it rather than spilling it everywhere. So in the recipe book, everything's broken down for you. So all the the recipe amounts is for 10 portions. So you can double it, triple it, you can halve it to your needs as well. So it's very, as I said, user-friendly, easy to use. Okay, so that's just going to cook off a little bit more. And you would probably, if you were doing this at work or at home, 10 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. If the recipe says 40, if you're using dried lentils because you want them to be nice and soft, but we are going to put it in the fridge. No, we're not. We're going to put it in the oven as well. Right. So, just going to put this away because I've got, you can't see, but I've got a lot of stuff out. So I'm trying to be as organised as possible. So I've got a little, got a little dish. And I've got some potatoes here that I've already pre-boiled because we're going to make a really delicious mash topping, really creamy and yummy. So I'm going to turn it off and fill up my bowl. So again, try not to make too much mess, can't promise. In it goes. Hopefully you can still see this. And I actually needed a bigger dish, but never mind, doesn't matter. I can freeze this, let it cool and freeze. Freezes really well. A little bit more. And then I'm going to show you how to make a really delicious creamy mash. Let's put this over here. And I'll just quickly show you. So in it goes. All those lovely vegetables, just packed with flavor and goodness, thank you. So, pre-boiled potatoes, just for time-wise. To that, I'm going to add some plant milk. And to the plant milk, I'm going to add some plant butter and some plant-based cheese. Many, many years ago, you couldn't really get decent plant-based cheese or decent plant-based butter. Nowadays, you can get them pretty much everywhere, and the quality is fantastic. So in it goes. And then we're going to add another ingredient
which you may or may not have used. I don't want to assume anything. And this is this is nutritional yeast. I always call it B12 because it contains B12. So let me tell you a little bit about nutritional yeast, and I'll just sprinkle some in.
We are big fans of nutritional yeast, aren't we? Goes in everything.
Yeast, yeah, it's so good for you. And it's in a kind of powdered flaked form. And it's got so many health benefits. You can get it pretty much in all major supermarkets. Obviously check with your suppliers if you're buying in bulk. And you can get it online as well. And nutritional yeast is a deactivated yeast. And it's a great source of vitamins and minerals. And it contains all 9 essential amino acids as well. So that, you know, there's no downside to nutritional yeast. It's got B12, which is a really important vitamin. And it also, so let me just turn that off. And it also is cheesy. So it tastes really cheesy, which is, you know, a win-win. So I'm just going to mix that down. Sorry.
I was just going to say, Lisa, we've got about a third of people who have tried it and think it's great, about a third who haven't but will, and a third that don't really like the sound of it very much. Fair enough.
I didn't do a good sales job then for a third of people. But I would urge you to try it because it's not something you'd actually eat on its own, obviously, but added to things, it makes a really lovely cheesy sauce as well. Right, so in they go. I'm going to make a little bit of noise now because I'm going to blitz my potatoes. So apologies, I'm just going to use my stick blender. Just going to push it down and get all that cheese and plant milk and butter mixed in to get a really yummy, creamy mash, creamy, cheesy mash that everyone loves. And again, as I said, these are really looking towards autumn, winter, because you may be looking at your menus now for changing September, depending on how many changes you make in a year. Nearly there. And it goes just like traditional cheese, where it goes really like unctuous and gooey. Okay, right. Probably could have gone on a little bit longer, but you get the idea. And then just get rid of all that. And I'm going to put my topping on and then put that in the oven, and I'll take it out once I've finished all the other dishes for you. Okay.
You are a great multitasker.
Oh, thank you. Did you say that or did someone say that?
I said that.
Okay, thank you.
And you didn't pay me to say it either.
Yeah. So I'm just going to do a really lovely thick topping of this lovely cheesy mash. And then I'll hold it up so you can see. And of course the top's going to crisp up a little bit where the cheese is there. And it's going to be just really work beautifully with all those vegetables and the soy mince. And we talk about, Colette was mentioning that we do menu reviews. So the fact we call this a homemade cottage pie, because that sounds really appealing, that it's been homemade, makes you feel like it's been made with love. And we don't say this is a vegetarian homemade pie, this is a vegan homemade pie, this is a meat-free homemade pie, because research tells us they're all negative terms. It makes you feel like if you're not vegetarian, that you may not want that dish or it's not for you, especially if you're a child, because you may think, oh, I'm not vegetarian, am I allowed to have that? So if we do work together at some point and we help you, which we'd love to do, we can talk you through how to come across, how to make the menu sound more enticing and uptake on these types of dishes. So I'm just doing the old fork decoration, easy peasy. And I'm going to put that in the oven now, so excuse my back. And I'll show you that at the end. Okay, we're going to crack on. Lots to do. So I have to be quick. You have to gear me up, Colette, if I take too long.
Yeah, keep going, you're doing good.
Because this, now we're going to make another firm favourite, and it is smoky sausage and mushroom goulash, another firm favourite, crowd pleaser, packed with lovely, lovely ingredients. And again, I'll talk to you a little bit about the ingredients, but first of all, I want to get on the onions and the mushrooms, get them cooking, because we need them to cook down a little bit while I'm getting hot. Right, so onions, brown onion, just diced. Always a good start to a recipe. Flavour, love an onion. And my pan's not quite hot enough yet, but we'll be okay. So, and then I've got mushrooms. I've cut my mushrooms quite chunky, depending on the children in your school. They may or may not like them like that. You can make them even finer. You can blend them. You don't have to have them chunky, although they do shrink down. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's nice to have the texture in the sauce. And most people do like mushrooms. So I'm going to put them in because they will cook down. Oh, got an escapee there. In they go. And whilst they start to cook down, I'm going to talk to you about another dish as well. Okay, so let me talk you through the smoky sausage and mushroom goulash. Let's talk about costs and ingredients. So the cost is 56 pence per portion, fibre 6.9, protein 9.4, so very high in protein, saturated fat 2 grams, so very low, low in saturated fat. Other ingredients contains omega-3, calcium, iron, zinc. It's low in sugar and very low carbon emissions. So again, really planet friendly, which is a good thing. So you're just frying off the onions and the mushrooms. And as you well know, the mushrooms will release some liquid once they start frying, cooking down. So I'm not going to actually turn them just yet. I'm going to let them do their thing. And whilst that's doing that, I want to talk to you about another side dish, which is really popular. And it's just a nice way of making some potatoes. It's just a nice way of, they feel like they're naughty, but like chips, but they're not. They're very good for you. So we've got these Herby mini roasted potatoes. So the actual name is Herby roasted mini potatoes. This is found on page 48 of our recipe brochure. And these are some I made earlier, and they're really, really good. So I'll talk you through them just whilst this is cooking. Cost 9 pence per portion. I just think it's nice, they go with this dish really well. Fibre 2.1 grams, protein 3.1, saturated fat 0.2, so brilliant. Very low carbon emissions, contains no allergens. And you're just roasting the potatoes in a little bit of oil and some thyme. So it's really like the dried herb thyme. So they're really like come out crunchy and delicious and herby, and they make a really lovely side. I mean, you can just have them on their own, really, but it's just nicer than just a jacket potato, which, you know, we're all for jacket potatoes and do loads of lovely toppings, but it's just making something a little bit different with your potatoes. We all know how to cook a potato, but when you make them kind of mini and roasted with the herbs, just, you know, elevates them a little bit more.
They cook really quickly as well because they're just little, so they're really nice. And you can have other herbs with them. I make them a lot at home, and we have they're nice with fresh rosemary or any other dried herbs, just whatever you're cooking that goes nicely together.
Yeah, I like a bit of garlic with mine as well, actually. So these are cooking down lovely, beautifully. And I've used these mushrooms. You can use a mixture, you can use white mushrooms. Yeah, so that really doesn't matter. So whilst this is cooking down.
And white mushrooms are just as nutritious as chestnut mushrooms or any other mushrooms. you kind of think, oh, they're white and they probably don't have as much goodness in them, but they're very nutritious. Even if you buy the sort of cheap bog standard ones, they're really good for you. Loads of vitamin D in mushrooms.
Brilliant tip. It's true, because you think you just assimilate it to say white bread, but actually it's nothing, it has nothing to do with it. So this is cooking. So whilst it's cooking, I'm going to talk about the sauce, which is something that I make all the time. And it's a white bean sauce. We use butter beans. And in here, I've got butter beans and a stock cube and some water. So basically a vegetable stock and some butter beans. And the beauty of this is you can make it thick or you can make it thinner, depending on what you're using it for. And it's just a really versatile white sauce that's creamy, and you can add different herbs to it. You can roast off some garlic, squeeze it in, blitz it up. I mean, there's so many things you could do with a base, and it's butter beans and a vegetable stock. Perfect. So I am going to blitz that, and I'll warn you, it's going to be noisy because I'm doing it in a power blender. So whilst I blitz it, I'll give you a 3-second countdown. You might want to turn down your sound because it makes quite a bit of noise. So just warning you, I'm going to give it a little blitz now, okay?
I can hardly hear it. How bizarre. Maybe it's just me.
So that was, oh, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear okay?
I can hear.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was just going to say, I could hardly hear the blender. It didn't almost seem to make a sound.
Oh, really?
Maybe it's just not picking it up on the microphone.
Oh, there you go, because it's a really noisy blender, but it's brilliant. So there you go. I made mine a little bit looser because I want it's going to cook down a little bit. And I'm also going to add some corn flour to thicken it up to my desired consistency. So I'll just show you that again. And honestly, if you try one thing, well, hopefully you're going to try more than one thing, but try this sauce, and because it's a really good white sauce. So as you can see, cooked down, took no time at all, made my sauce. So I'm going to add some sweet smoked paprika because we want some nice flavour. And we want to make it
the white bean sauce is in several of our recipes, isn't it? So you can kind of make it and freeze it and then use it again for something else. And it just adds like protein, it adds more fibre. You're getting all that good stuff in without anybody even knowing it's there.
Exactly. It's genius is what it is. I didn't make it up, by the way. I didn't create this recipe. I'm not just calling myself genius. It was a chef called Richard Fox. So yeah, but I absolutely love it. So I'm going to pour in my sauce. Lovely and creamy and smooth.
It looks so good.
It is so good. It's like one of my favourites. So give that a little stir around. And as I said, it's up to you, the consistency. I mean, traditionally, it's obviously a goulash. But what I'm going to add actually to it is a little bit of corn flour. I'll give that a little stir because it's thickened already. So this is a very quick dish, not finished yet though. So I'm going to add a little bit of corn flour and give that a stir. And again, another crowd pleaser, this dish. The kids love it. We've had excellent feedback. I can tell you I've had this dish many times and it's very nice.
Lisa, we've just got a question from somebody who is having difficulties downloading the recipe brochure. Apologies, I just thought it's probably easier to explain it to everyone. We've had a problem with our website today. So apologies if it looks a bit strange, and if you're having problems, it should be working fine soon. We can perhaps send a link to it when we send round the recording to you all. But if not, just check back a bit later or tomorrow and it should be fine. Or send us an email if you're having any problems.
Okay. So to this, I'm going to add some sausages, some plant sausages that I've already roasted. So you can slice these. In fact, I might slice a couple. Actually, no, I've already started now. Changing mine halfway through. So I'm just adding these lovely plant sausages. I don't know if anyone's tried plant sausages, but they are fantastic. They are so good. You can get all different types of flavours. And really, whether or not you're vegetarian, vegan, whatever you want to call, your dietary requirements are, they're just really, really good. They're excellent. And then you've got this lovely, creamy, mushroomy sauce with these lovely plant potatoes and plant sausages. So I'm just going to dish that up.
So we've got the results of the sausage poll.
The sausage poll.
Exciting, hot off the press. So about a third of people use them sometimes, but they're not popular. And about 2/3, yes, and kids like them. So, yeah.
Very split group today.
I think you have to try different ones. If the children don't like them, it's good to try a different brand because they're all quite different. And some of them, I mean, are just indistinguishable from pork sausages. It's amazing. Good
Just
stuff.
Load up a portion.
I was just going to give a little mushroom tip, which I always love to share. So a lot of mushrooms that we buy have already been UV treated, but if they haven't, it usually says on your kind of packet or whatever. If you put your mushrooms, any kind of mushrooms, just lay them out on a tray and put them in a window or put them outside, they absorb the UV light, and like us, they convert it into vitamin D. So we're quite similar to mushrooms, and they then retain that vitamin D, so you can kind of boost the nutrient content just by exposing them to the sun or just to light. That's it. That's the fact.
Brilliant tip. I'm definitely going to do that. So there you go. You've got a really lovely creamy dish with a lovely side of these gorgeous potatoes. Super quick, really healthy, packed with goodness. And I hope you do try them. So I'm going to now show you, I'm going to show you some desserts that we have in our recipe book. And again, real crowd pleasers. The children absolutely love these, and who can blame them? So we're going to start off with, honestly, it is so good. It's a creamy rice pudding with a fresh berry jam. And let me tell you, it is beyond good. So we've got just your traditional rice, pudding rice, okay? You can get that pretty much everywhere. Again, store cupboard ingredients. And to that, I'm going to add plant milk. Okay, so I mean,
use any plant milk.
I would say any plant milk. The plant milk that you would normally use. You can use an oat milk, an almond milk, a soya milk. There's a lot to choose from. Just use what you usually use in other things. Perfect. And go with your favourite. So to that, I'm going to add some. Oh, covered everything up. Now it's all stuck together. So to that, I'm going to add some vanilla. So I just covered everything up. So just in that goes. Smells amazing already. And then we're going to use an agave nectar, an agave syrup, which is a natural sweetener, a low GI food, and really, really delicious as well. Gives it a lovely caramelly flavour. So I'm going to put some of that. I'm going to save some for the jam. Give that a little mix. And then I didn't think this through, I'm doing it over the hot pan, never mind. And then, really easy to make, just going to pour that into my, I don't know if you can see, hopefully you can, oops, into my dish. And then we bake it in the oven for around an hour, hour and a half at 150. So you can just put it in, forget about it. And what happens is, I mean, you may or may not have made rice pudding recently. It absorbs all of the palm milk and all of those flavours and becomes, well, I'll show you actually what it becomes. So I'm going to give that a little stir. I'm going to put it to one side because I will be baking this. Oops, carefully. I won't put it in yet. Actually, I'm going to put it in. Yeah, why not? No, not enough room. Just going to check on my cottage pie, because remember, I put that in at the start. Oh, it is already looking fabulous. Okay, so I'm going to make a really nice jam for you, which goes really well with the rice pudding, but of course will go well with other things as well. And sorry, I'm a bit tight for a room because of all my stuff, so you have to just bear with me a moment. So to my pan, I'm going to add some frozen berries. Again, you can store them really easily. It's frozen fruit, have it throughout the year. And I've just got here some lovely mixed frozen berries. And what happens is it releases the juice and it's just really, really nice. So in they go. Get all those lovely berries in there. So you've got the goodness of the fruit. Turn that up a little bit. Hanging a bit. And to that, we are going to add the zest of orange. And that just really cuts through and just adds that lovely orangey flavour to it and works so, so well with the creamy rice pudding. Always zest over what you're using, you're adding it to, because all the oils kind of release out. And then we're going to add the juice as well. And we're going to add some more of the agave nectar and some apple, some fresh apple. So in that goes. Has anyone used agave nectar before? Oh, were you there, Colette?
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, good.
Sorry, I haven't gone to sleep. I'm paying attention. Yeah, if anybody's used agave, let us know, or how you found it, or maybe people haven't tried it.
No, what it was, because on Zoom you sometimes you can cut out, can't you? So I was just double checking that I wasn't just chatting away. So I'm going to add the agave nectar for the sweetness, and I personally think it's so much nicer than using sugar. It's just a bit different, and add it to the jam, and the jam does turn out have a lovely sweetness to it. And I'm also going to add some apple. I'm just going to quickly peel it, and whilst I'm peeling and chopping the apple, I'll talk you through the stats. So the cost is 33 pence for the creamy rice pudding with fresh berry jam, and fibre 1.4, protein 4.6, saturated fat 0.3. So it's low in fat, low in salt, contains omega-3, calcium, iron, zinc, vitamin B12, vitamin D. So all good stuff, all good stuff. Very low carbon emissions as well. Again, planet friendly. Get rid of my peel.
I don't know about other people, but I think when we were putting this the recipes together and running all the stats on it, it's always interesting because you sort of think, with protein and all these different nutrients that you're going to get them in the sort of the main dishes, as it were. But actually, when you look at the desserts, they're packed with all these things. They've got loads of protein too, and it just shows you because it comes from plants. So it kind of makes sense, but it still surprises me for some reason.
You think because it's, a little bit sweet that it shouldn't be good for you, but it is.
Yeah, great.
Okay, so just chop this up. I'm going to put that in. Give it a stir. I'm just going to show you as well at this stage. I'll hold it up. Is that hot? That's fine. Can you, I don't know if you can see in there, but you can see it's quite liquidy. What's going to happen is it's going to reduce down and thicken up. So basically it takes, let me see how long we recommend. So we recommend you so you just bring it to the boil and then let it simmer for a bit and then let it cool, which is what I've done. So I'm just going to move this out of the way and show you my one I made earlier.
Is there still some left?
Well, I know there is that. So this is it once it's been cooked and cooled. So it's just really like, lovely, the plant-based yogurt as well. And the rice pudding, which is my new favourite thing to make. So I go through phases. Sometimes I just make the brownie, but now I'm all about the rice pudding. So it's creamy and it comes out, this is how it comes out of the oven. So you just mix it together, put it in the oven, and voila, you've got this like delicious rice pudding. Then I'm going to add some of my delicious jam.
That looks lovely.
Yes, please.
That would be nice on like breakfast things too, wouldn't it? Because it hasn't got like loads of added sugar. Be good like with a muesli or something.
It certainly would. Right.
Just to let you know, we've got 10 minutes left, but you're doing great. So just to let you know, 10 minutes.
Okie dokie, okie dokie. All right. I won't panic. No, I'm kidding. So one more recipe, really, really quick. This is for the Chewy tropical flapjack. And let me just check on the... Yeah, I will be able to show you our pie as well, homemade cottage pie. I'm just going to quickly look for my heat proof. Here it is, because I don't want to put it on the table, so I've got my heat proof in preparation. So I'm going to show you how to make Chewy tropical flapjacks. It is so hard to not constantly eat them. I literally have to force myself. So let's get the ingredients. I'm going to put my pan on.
And we've been asked quite a bit on the previous sessions about, you know, bakes and sweet things and how to make them plant-based. So hopefully this helps a little bit with that. Yeah.
Give you some ideas. So this is in here, I've got plant-based butter and soft brown sugar, which I'm going to add into my pan. And we're going to melt this down. This is the base. In it goes. Okay. Make sure we get it all out, no waste a bit. And to this, I'm going to add some golden syrup. Not much, just a little bit, just to give it that chewiness. In it goes. And this takes no time at all to melt down. There we go. Try to be as quick as I can. And I'm going to mix that together. Stir it around and it's just instantly melting. It's my pan, my hob's nice and hot. Who's coming around for dinner? Because I've got quite a bit of food.
I can almost smell it, the sort of caramelly butteriness. Oh, yum.
Yeah. And to that, I'm going to add some cinnamon. Love cinnamon. It's such a lovely spice, a warming spice. And it's just not overwhelming. It's just a little hint of cinnamon running through it. Just works really, really well. So let's give that a stir around. And what you're looking for is the grainy sugar to dissolve. That's what we're looking for. But I will speed up the process and I'll pretend it's done a little bit quicker, just so I can show you. But whilst that's just melting, I will tell you about the cost. 20 pence per portion. And as I mentioned earlier, the recipes are for 10 portions. You can scale up, scale down. Fibre 3.1, protein 4.1, saturated fat 2.1, very low carbon emissions, of course, and contains calcium, iron, zinc, and vitamin B12. So talking about the good stuff, we've also got some sunflower seeds, which we're going to add in, and they add a really nice crunch, bit of texture to the chewiness, so you've got something to chew on. To that, we've got tropical fruit, and you can actually mix this up. So any kind of dried fruit works. In here, I've got mixed fruit, and I've also got dried fig, got pineapple, I've got coconut. But as I said, yeah, whatever you've got, any dried fruit will work. In that goes. Give that a stir around. And then we're going to add in the oats. I'm going to move this out of the way. Preparation. So I've just got a lined baking tray. I'm going to add in the oats. And then mix that
just
all
to let
around.
you know, you've got 5 minutes, Lisa.
You don't, literally 2 seconds. Just going to mix that in.
Wow.
As quickly as I can, and I just want to quickly show you the homemade cottage pie, which is bubbling away behind me. So you just mix that in, easy, in it goes, and I'm going to bake that for around 20 minutes, and then let it cool, and you slice it up. It is as simple as that. And of course, you can do this in big trays, you can freeze it as well.
And the idea with the recipes, especially with the desserts, is you can kind of just switch around the ingredients. And so, yeah, you can add in different fruits, you can add in different seeds or whatever you want, different spices, and have a different version each week.
Exactly. Yeah. So in that will go, it will bake, it will cool, and you slice it up and enjoy. Delicious. I mean, I know we're talking about the children, but obviously I've got to keep them, they're very good. So I'll just quickly show you the cottage pie. Sorry to go back to you. But here it is, bubbling away.
Wow.
It is so good. I'm just going to put it down because it's very hot. And it could probably do it a little tiny bit longer, but time has eluded us. We've run out of time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you do. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, got some tips. We'd love to hear your feedback. Please do follow us on social media, subscribe to our newsletter. Please sign up for the next workshops because we're going to do lots of different recipes. And any requests, we'd love to hear from you as well. So I'm just going to turn off, my hob. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.